Hey there, welcome to Coding with Drew. In this video series, we're going to learn about Bash. Bash is one of my favorite languages I've learned to date, and it's probably the one that I use the most frequently. I've taken a lot of courses online. Many that I've taken did not include any instructions on how to use Bash. They start with HTML, go to CSS, dive directly into JavaScript, and you learn all the luggage that comes with JavaScript. You learn the way it used to be done, and then you learn how we're trying to migrate everybody over to in whatever year it is. And you don't have any kind of background or framework to leverage it, like a mental mapping of how languages work. Well, Bash is simple. It's a great stepping stone, and in my opinion, is an essential stepping stone to work from HTML, CSS, and then go into Bash before JavaScript. Now, JavaScript has a lot of use cases that Bash doesn't. JavaScript is on a browser. You can't run Bash shell in a browser. It's just not the use case. I think the point I'd like to drive home is that if you only have one tool in your toolbox, i.e. JavaScript, then you'll try to solve all problems with JavaScript. And JavaScript might not be the best use case for your problem. So if you see a screw and all you have is a hammer, what are you going to use to drive that screw in? You're going to use the hammer, right? I want to put a screwdriver in your toolbox. That way, when you learn JavaScript, you can say, okay, I understand how an array works. I understand how a loop works because it worked this way in Bash. So now I have that like fundamental down. I can move into JavaScript and you'll pick it up way faster. There's so many reasons why you'd want to learn Bash. One of the reasons for me, I picked it up was because I was being given commands that I was running just blindly. And this is really common. A lot of developers only understand how to operate Visual Studio Code. So they'll come into Visual Studio Code. They're a beast. They're absolutely fantastic. Like they know JavaScript, but if you ask them to deploy their application or run it anywhere outside of their personal computer or any errors come up, they're just lost. They need help. They need a DevOps engineer to come and make things work again. I want you to be a senior developer as fast as possible, and this is going to help. Bash is a play on words. It's an acronym for Born Again Shell. Born was a shell that was created back in 1979, and it's a kind of a redo of it. And Bash is probably the most commonly used shell that's on Linux servers today. You can operate a Linux web server, a Linux computer using Bash without any problems. It also comes standard on a Mac, but it's not the default. The default on a Mac is ZSH, and you can see this, find it. So if I switch to Bash, so I'm just going to type in Bash here, you can see that it actually tells you that the default interactive shell is now ZSH, even though I'm in Bash. And I can switch back to ZSH. Now I can set the default of which one I want to run by copying this command and then pasting it in here and changing ZSH to Bash. I'm not going to run this because I like ZSH. Now, what you need to know about ZSH is backwards compatible with Bash. Any command that you run with Bash will work in ZSH. ZSH just comes with some added functionality and customization. So what is a shell? I've used this word a couple times. A shell is a program that interprets commands you type into your terminal. So this is a terminal, and a shell is what interprets what I type in here. So ZSH or Bash. And it sends those commands to the operating system for the operating system to run. Now, that seems a little too high level and simplified. So let's break that down a little bit. The purpose is to make it more convenient for you to issue commands to your computer. Simple as that. So while you probably think that you can just come into your Finder and navigate around, you really are not as good as a computer. At the end of the day, you can't repeat the same task 1,000 times with 100% accuracy. That's where shell commands come in. to understand Bash, we have to have a foundational understanding of how file systems are structured. And so if you know that, then you can understand how to navigate around. So down here on our Finder, I just want to give an overview. You don't have to do anything. I just want you to see this. So in View, I have Show Path Bar enabled so you can see it down here. Now this path, this is where I am in this file directory. I'm in User, and then I'm in Admin. And if I look in Admin, I have my Dev directory. And then inside of Dev, I have Markup. But everything is in relation to root, which is here, Macintosh HD. Root is the very bottom of the tree. It's a branch of branches, if you will. And so what you can see, if I go to Macintosh HD, this is a root. This is the highest level you can possibly go inside of your file system. And then it branches off into individual file directories. So you go into admin. Now, from users admin, this is called home. So home, if you see here, this is home. This is a short syntax for home. And there's a command called pwd, print working directory. This will tell you where you're at in your working directory. So I'm in root, so /users/admin. Okay. So that's what this tilde stands for. And so /users/admin. And then I can use commands like cd, which is change directory, to move into any directory I want. So dev, for example. And this is in relation to tilde, which is home, and home is located here. So this is the equivalent of me writing cd/dev. cd users admin dev. So if I look in this file directory, this is root, so /users/admin/dev. Okay. And this is the same as this. There's two ways to demonstrate the same information. Now, I'm not going to go into further commands just yet. That's going to be for the next video. But I wanted to explain how file directories are laid out, and then explain where you are in your terminal is based off of which directory you have open in your Finder, just to give you a way of looking at it. Now, I'm assuming you have zero experience with terminal, Finder, anything. I want to walk you from the very baby steps all the way through to being a system admin. To do that, we're gonna break down some commands. So that's the first thing we're gonna do. I'm gonna throw a bunch of them at you. I want you to take excellent notes. Please write them in your portfolio, so that way you can refer to them later and share with the world what you've learned. Don't forget to share it on Twitter and LinkedIn, #CodingWithDrew and #100 Days of Code. And I look forward to teaching you some more Bash. I'll see you in the next video.